Look like I'm asleep. Okay.
Peace, good peoples. Welcome to yet another episode of this thing that I like to call Objects in Motion, where we get people on here to talk about life and all that good stuff. And then as soon as I say we're getting ready to record, they go in motion. No, I'm playing. But that has happened a couple of times. Once I was like, "You ready?" He was like, "Yeah, I'm ready." And then as soon as I say something, then they get up and walk away. But anyway,
I
objects in
did think
motion.
about going to my couch. Just be slightly more professional.
Right. So I'm just a man on a journey in this thing called life. And I really just like to talk to people and find out where they are on their journeys and what they're doing. We are all objects in motion in some sort of way. Just by living, breathing, waking up every day, we are in motion. Many of us get out here in this world and kick ass and do all kinds of stuff, but we know that we come across things that want to stand in our way and either push us off the track or stop us altogether. So I just like to talk about people and find out how they are staying in motion. So today we have, I don't want to get on my Nori and who's the other one that's super long winded. Anyway, Mía Musa, you know how they do. They sit up there and they be introducing somebody for 20 minutes. They like, and in 1984, they went on the subway and they went to see Breaking Boogaloo 2. And I'm like, nigga, just introduce the person. Tell us who they is. And matter of fact, I'm going to let you do that yourself. This is a good
Oh
friend of mine.
Lord.
I really love her spirit. She is a fantastic human being, a mother of one, two, three fantastic human beings, and just has so much going on in her life. So I'm gonna let her break it down for you.
Thank you. I'm really bad at describing myself, but I appreciate that slight intro. I'm a mother. I'm an educator. I do comedy. I bring people together. And yeah, I don't know. That's all I got. I'm based here in Baltimore. I try to not just be in Baltimore. I try to get around
Mm-hmm.
and be with the people. Yeah, that's all.
God, you
Yeah.
definitely get around the people. So we'll get to the comedy thing in a minute. But one thing that I want to talk about really is this whole school business because I worked in the school system for so long. So I really want to talk about like how you got into that and then transitioning from working with the babies, which I know played a role at least, or at least it gives you some material for that comedy career that you have embarked on. So let's start with that. Getting into, matter of fact, give just a brief rundown because I know you've done so much community work even before getting into the school system. So just talk about just as briefly as you want to, or as long as you want to, about the work that you've done prior to, and then work us up to this point.
Yeah, I've been in education my whole working life pretty much. Like even when I was like 12 is when I started babysitting and tutoring. By the time I was 14, I was working for like the Algebra Project and tutoring, and by the time I was like 15, 16, no, 14 was my first year. I was working at a camp. And so I've always done stuff like that, worked at camps and after school programs. And then when I left college, I was setting up like programs in schools and stuff, which also is what ended up leading to um, Freedom School, Reader's Cross Freedom School. So I was like heavily active in that. And I was substituting before, like a little bit, like 10 years ago, which is the reason why they got my name wrong in the system.
Mm,
But what happened most recently is y'all know it's been a huge teacher shortage
mm,
post COVID. And my friend hit me up because they knew that I'm like always just kind of open and I just like was gigging piece to piece. And I was working at the time, but the organization was definitely in trouble and was my contract was almost up. So she was just like, they really desperate. They paying a lot and they need this. And I never was interested in working at a school full time, not in the classroom. Um, I don't working at the school. That was like my first time having to be somewhere at 8 a.m. since high school.
mm.
Like I don't College, I set my classes at like 9 the earliest or 10 the earliest. Working even full time, I would get to work at like 10, 11 o'clock. Like, I'm not a morning person. Clearly, this is why I'm still sitting in bed. If I had the opportunity to be in bed, I'm gonna be in bed. And my kids are night owls and they don't wake up early. So I don't have that like, oh, my kids had me up at 5 a.m. I don't know what's been waking me up that early and I don't like it. But so yeah, so it got me back in the school system. And it's definitely been really interesting coming from somebody that like been in and out, tiptoeing in and out for like 20 years, seeing what it's like now and being in this position where I'm in there full time and I'm teaching science, which is fun and interesting,
Mm,
but also crazy because
I'm
why they got
sure because that just makes me think. Like I know you post a whole lot on Facebook, and I definitely don't say that in a kind of negative way at all because me and you is probably neck and neck because I get that.
to
Matter of fact, you my inspiration because I ainit gonna lie. Sometimes when I feel like I be posting too much, I'm like, whatever. Mia just put 10 posts a day. I'm good. Let me put up my let me put my seventh one up and keep it moving. Shit,
Mhm.
still behind her. But just with that openness and like even open mindedness into things that you delve into, believe, or even just keep possibilities open. How much of that do you get to, or are you able to really give to the students? Because I've been there, I've been in the classroom, and I know how it can be. Sometimes stuff in your mind, and you got this wet curriculum that's telling you you're supposed to tell these kids something else. So just talk to us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I've been trying to navigate that because I try to have certain like professional boundaries.
Yeah.
And I'm also the type I play my role, you know what I mean? Like I'm not going to be nowhere that I'm totally against and I'm not trying to like I have my own stuff. I got my own thing that I put my mind and my effort and energy to. So if I'm working for an organization or a company, I try to just go ahead and do what's being asked of me. But I definitely infuse, especially when I was teaching biology, I definitely infuse different like knowledge and understanding of stuff. And I'll also be transparent with them. Like I don't believe in brainwashing. I believe in giving people um the opportunity to think for themselves. So I might say I don't agree with this, or I'll say there's other viewpoints around this and have them explore these other viewpoints. Kids today are super critical of everything anyway. So that's like completely open. And sometimes we are transparent about, when they say like, oh, why we gotta do this test and why this, and I'm like, I think it's dumb too. But
Mhm.
this is the reason why I set up this way. And so just so you understand what the impact is, this is why I set up this way, but I also don't agree with it. Call the school board, start writing letters. Like I start to
Exactly.
encourage them in that way. But I try not to like gaslight them and thinking like any of this stuff makes sense because it doesn't, you know.
Right.
But at the same time, like we're all here. We all signed up to be here. I even let them know they got options. Like, you don't have to be here. You can figure out another way to educate yourself. Your parents, y'all can talk about it. They got virtual stuff now. You got homeschooling. So if you're gonna be here, like at least do what you need to do to accomplish the goal here, or set what your goal is for being here instead of just like going through the motions. Um, but yeah, it kind of depends. I try to be respectful of, I don't want to cause a mutiny. That's
Right.
my
Right.
energy.
Right.
But like I said, I want like they are there anyway. Like they are on the crux of a mutiny.
Yeah.
So you
Like
know,
Miss Mia said, burn it all down.
yeah. I'm like I ain't say no. I'm chilling. Uh, but
Death to the
they feel safe
patriarchy.
with me. Yeah, they feel safe with me. So I try to respect that because a lot of times it'd be like, I'm your teacher, get out my face. But I'm like, a lot of teenagers, especially, there's not a lot of adults that they feel safe with. And unfortunately, a lot of adults they do feel safe with are not safe people. And
Right.
so, I take the role seriously. If they want to talk through something or if they want like a deeper understanding of something, sometimes I got to laugh off their questions. one student asked me if I was pansexual with them. They're like, this is none of your business. I just laughed at them. I'm like, I'm not talking to you about this. No, if you, I'm real big on them boundaries.
I
But
love it, and I'm sure. Like I know I've seen the some of the material, as I said, coming from the classroom, but how much not only the material, but even beyond the material, but just how much life does that give you, and how much do these kids like make you laugh and make you smile and all that, and then just enjoy your day more. No,
Yeah. Yeah.
wait, because this high school we talking about, right?
Yeah, this is high school.
Okay, 'cause I
Teenagers are
understand. See,
they
I was
gonna
in
do
elementary school.
it.
I did high
But
school. I did high school virtually for 1 year, so all I had to do was look at these knuckleheads on a computer, and I could shut my shit down. So, how is it for you? You can just be honest with me.
yeah. It's like now at first I was just like, what in the world? Like we are doomed. I
Mm, mm, mm.
don't know who out here raising these kids and we are doing a terrible job. I ain't gonna hold you. Cause it's like, this generation they raised on these phones, they raised on media and the level of delusion is just crazy. But
And mad water. We know we can't.
yeah.
Okay.
But I found myself like when I work with them or talk to them outside of that structure, that's when I get the most like enjoyment and fulfillment from them. Like when I really get to know them, because these are very bright kids. They can't read worth nothing, but they are very bright. They're very articulate. They're very emotionally intelligent. You know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
and that's the thing that be hard because you'll try to be like, no, you can't do that, and they break it down why they went off on somebody. I'm like, that's valid. I can't even
Right.
argue. You're right. That lady shouldn't have talked to you like that. That whole mother that
Exactly.
shouldn't have been like, "Shut up, girl." Like you don't deserve that. I mean, like I can't argue with it. They know how to break stuff down. They're very entrepreneurial. They're very creative. And so I love seeing like what they come up with and like how talented they are, and how like when they are serious about stuff, like how serious they are about things, and how thoughtful and how critical they are about things. You
Yeah.
know, I just get concerned about when they hit that real world. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That reality check in so many ways is going to be kind of hard, and we're seeing that.
Yeah.
A lot of this generation is suffering like really high from anxiety, really having a hard time on like follow through and executive functioning and all that type of stuff. But it's kind of like our call to start preparing the world for them. Like we can't keep fighting this cultural shift that's happening. You know what I'm saying? Like
Right.
we got we going. The world is changing. We already know the world is changing, but like is going to be completely different, and we gonna have to embrace it and start building the infrastructure to support that. It is
Yeah.
what it is.
Yeah. I'm with you on that. I do. Let me say, I definitely do not work in a high school or spend any amount of time in high schools other than going to like shit for my kids. But some of that generation like gives me a lot of hope, and then some of them makes me want to just. But anyway, but anyway, no. But some of them, I feel like it's going to be interesting because I feel like it's kind of extremes, and I don't know if you do too or not. But like even with your kids and the way that your kids are so expressive and all of those sorts of things and intelligent, insightful, and just seeing like my teenagers and all of that, it gives me a glimmer of hope just because this generation I feel like and younger kids are so much more open to the possibilities of things, and I also feel like they see through the bullshit more.
Hmm.
So
They
I don't know.
absolutely do. Yeah.
I think that's a good thing because like a lot of stuff that held us back. Now it may not be they may not be the most brilliant scientists and make all the best discoveries and all of that shit, but just in terms of humanity, I feel like that's I think I get hope because a lot of these children growing up are going to make it a better world in terms of it not being such a harsh, cruel world. Like I see, like my kids are just open to whatever. Oh, you gay, you queer, you bi. It's okay, it's cool. You still my best friend. We moving. Like, you know what I mean? That whole sort of thing where we kind of push past that, and at least we can work together in a sense that we're making it a better world in that kind of way. I don't know. Do you feel me? Am I making sense? Or am I just rambling?
No, it makes sense. Like I said, like, and that's the hard part for me, and it makes me like really question what my actual thought process and belief are around certain things, or like
Mm,
what I think is valuable and stuff. Because like again, who they are is exactly the what this new world needs, like, and what this world needs. Like we need to be more critical. We need the BS to be um broken up and all that type of stuff. But we also need people to follow directions sometimes. We
yeah.
also need our time not to be wasted scrolling online all day. You know what I
Exactly.
mean? We're using all of this brilliant and creative energy these children have. We're
Yeah.
housing it 6 to 8 hours a day. A lot of them are there like 10 hours a day because they're doing sports, and after
Mm,
they're there all day,
yeah.
and especially during that school time, they're doing worksheets and they're doing tests and stuff
Yeah.
that they don't necessarily care about. But at the same time, they don't have no real sense of the world to say, like, they'll say like, I'm never using this again, and I tell them like, you don't know if you're going to ever use it again. And
Yeah.
but the disconnect and not knowing why the information is relevant and who it's relevant to,
Ah,
you know what I'm saying, is
yeah.
is very problematic. But they're saying that so firmly because we're saying that so firmly. But again, like my life might not call for needing that particular information, but there's people who their total lives are about this, and you should know what your options are. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? But also, like ideally, what I would see, particularly in a high school environment, especially for this generation, they should only be in class maybe 2, 3 hours a day, and the rest should be at an apprenticeship. You know what I mean? Like it should
Yeah.
be hands on. It should be out in the world, and
Yeah.
also so everybody can get a real sense. Like y'all should know exactly what's expected in the workplace. Y'all should know what like is needed in the world to function, and as employers and adults and all of that, like we need to know where these kids' minds are at, what skills they need so that we can invest in the education system in that way. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
businesses got to invest more with like professional development and all of that type of stuff. I tell these students all the time. Now I treat them like little kids. When I
Mm,
realize, like sometimes my kids come to the school, and when I realize that these teenagers act the same as my kids,
mm.
started acting my teach treating my teenagers like little kids, and they good, like
Yeah. Yeah.
they fall in line with it. Um,
Yeah.
even before the break, I had them making s'mores. Like you would have thought they over there painting them to the side. Like you would have thought we were back in elementary school, and that's all they want. They don't
Yeah.
like having to be thrown out into this kind of like expectation of adulthood when they still got to ask to go to the bathroom. But I tell them like you're only a couple years from 18. You're only a couple years from like the expectation that you're an adult. Whether you're going to still be living with your parents or not, somebody's going to be taking care of you. You're still going to have to handle certain things, and it's like if this is how you act, then now like this not going to fly. Like the stuff that y'all are saying and making excuses for, and again, coming to school every day and doing zero work,
Right.
getting zeros and failing. Like that mom that just came out on the news and was saying she didn't know her son was failing for 4 years when they
Yeah.
got apps and
Yeah.
report cards and progress reports like these. Every week I gotta make sure I put grades in. Every week it's posted online. You can see it. There's text being sent. There's calls. Like everybody gotta do all of this stuff. It takes away from what is happening in the classroom. And I'm usually team parent, but what I what I'm seeing is just like, no, there's no excuses for this. We gotta step
Yeah.
up. We gotta
Yeah.
step up.
And I'm sitting here thinking, as you said, like I'm so team parent, and I'm not one that just lumps everybody together or anything like that. But sometimes you gotta call a spade a spade. There's some folks out here who ain't doing their jobs. That's for
Yeah. And especially at the high school level, I don't have my kids go nowhere I ain't been in, and I haven't sat with the teachers, all that type of stuff. It's been hard teaching because my schedule is their schedule, so I can't sit in the class as much as I would have before. And
Hmm.
I was in charge of that education before, but especially at the high school level, parents are just dropping their kids off. They've never met anybody in the building. You know what
Yeah,
I mean? And it's like I'm not completely judging that, but I'm just telling people you might want to think twice about it, because
yeah,
stuff go down, and then you like, how could this happen? If you were to step foot in a building, you
yeah,
would be able to see how that stuff happen. You also want to know what your children are influenced by. You can't trust, especially us, you can't trust this system to completely care for your children. And teenagers in particular are so vulnerable to predators, and predators target these
mm-hmm.
areas and communities. I'm not saying where I work, I've seen anybody do some funny business and all that type of stuff, but I even know when I was in high school, somebody got fired for that and it was a whole big scandal. So this type of stuff happens on a regular basis, and these are people, again, half the time that you've never met before. You know what
Right.
I'm saying?
And I'm
And
glad
that's
you brought that up because I'm
yeah.
cut you off, but I'm just thinking when, sorry, when my oldest first went to high school, I was really questioning myself because you want to know as a parent like what's too much and like how much you want to give them leeway, and you know what I mean, you don't want to be the uncool dad that's up in the school and embarrassing your kids and all of that. So it's like, how do we find a balance to understand that we do still need to be there, but we also want to not embarrass our kids or any shit like that, you know what I'm
I mean, they need to be embarrassed. It's fine. And it's like every time you worried about embarrassing your kids, think about when they was toddlers outside embarrassing you. Like they it's fine. They can be embarrassed. It's fine. But I do think the real thing is though giving them space to figure things out on their own, be themselves, all that type of stuff. So I don't think that you got to be all up in people's face all the time. But again, you at least need to know the environment that your child is in. So you also know if it's the right environment for them. You know what I mean?
saying?
Like
Yeah,
again,
true
I've had to interview teachers. I've had to tell them this is how my children learn. This is the type of environment they thrive in. You know what I mean? I've had to see their style to see if it works. I don't play about that. I'm not going to have, I mean, my kids are still in elementary school, so they're going to be with the same teacher all day.
that.
I'm
Hmm.
not going to have them be miserable all day and get in trouble all day and having the school call me all day. Like I'm not dealing with that, and I'm not dealing with that. They crazy at home, but they don't act crazy in school.
There you go.
Um, so even at the high school level, you want to at least know these are the classes that my kids are taking. These are their teachers. Lay face to them. Uh, have a day where you're talking to the administrator, whatever. Know what the philosophy of the school is. Again, know what the other kids are doing and saying and what they're being exposed to. You know what I'm saying? Like
Mm.
I think on both sides, on the teacher and the parent side, we don't realize how different a lot of times these environments are.
Yeah.
Like at home, you don't realize how different it is at a school and what the expectations are, and vice versa. And kids are constantly navigating that, navigating these different realities and how
Yeah.
they're supposed to act, behave. Like I had one student, I had to contact her mother because she kept getting into little stuff with people, and her mother was like, "She's really quiet. Like this is really surprising to me." And you can tell that she that type. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
And I was like, "Well, she out here cussing and fussing and
Mhm.
fighting people here." Um, and people, I've always heard teachers, that's why I never like hanging out in the teachers lounge. These parents know who their kids are. No, they don't.
Yeah.
My kids don't act the
Right.
same.
Yep.
My kids are angels. Everybody be like, oh, your kids are so sweet. I ain't never meet them. I never met them sweet kids. Our kids are little
Yep.
demons.
Oh man, I know exactly what you're talking about. Exactly.
So it's the opposite for a lot of these
It
parents. Their
really
kids
is.
are quiet and nice at home, or their kids are just playing video games, watching TV. They don't have a lot of conversations with them. You know what I'm saying? And we have a
Yeah.
lot going on. So I'm not again like again. We're all somewhere for like 8 hours a day. Then we got a couple hours together where
Hmm.
we're mostly decompressing, and then we go to bed.
Right. Right. And that's what
That's
I
it.
was gonna say. You're in a school. You in a setting where At home, you with your parents and you might be whatever, cool, calm, collective, and you all of this and that. And school is your opportunity, not necessarily to cut
Right.
up school, but at least to let loose. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
yeah,
Exactly.
it's definitely going to be different because a lot of kids are really in that where the parent is so super strict and you know what I mean, it's everything is in a box, so on and so forth. You know what I mean. So
Hmm.
starting to transition into the comedy. Let's talk about that. Let's go ahead and go there. How did that come about?
I always been a fan of comedy. Like I always loved comedy. I tried to write out my first set at like 14, and
Mm.
then I was always a writer. I was always into writing, so I just kept writing, and it felt real long winded, and I was just like, no, this ain't gonna work.
Yo,
But
I
I
swear, hold on, let me just stop you right there. But I swear that's me because you probably seen almost every poem I've written, and you know how short they are, and that's because after so long, I'm just like, fuck it, I've had enough, and I just put that closing line, and I'm done. I swear, I said if I ever took more than 10 minutes to write a poem, I'd be dangerous. Like,
uh-huh. And that's what, like, I would write. I like ever since elementary school, probably since I was 7, I was like writing books, short
mm,
stories. I didn't start writing poetry until like middle school, and then high school, college, I was writing essays, just like my thoughts on stuff. So I would try to write out comedy sets, and it was just like now I'm getting too deep into it, and now I'm doing the backstory, and just like like this is too much. So I just was worried about doing it, and then just like I'm a quiet person. Like I didn't see myself reflected in comedy.
mm,
The comedians, I was attracted to all type of comedy. Well, no, I can't say that. A lot of the black women comics, especially that I grew up watching, like it just didn't resonate with me at all. And you know, I didn't think that I would be received if I tried it. So I was interested in like writing for people possibly and all that type of stuff. The comedy shows that I had gone to were like in other cities. Like I went to one in New York and Philly, like open mics or something, New Orleans, but I didn't know the comedy scene in Baltimore. Even though I keep forgetting the actual very first time I went on stage and I completely bombed. And it was
mm.
similar to like that, right? And I was just rambling. I ain't had no plan, no thought. Like it just was a
Oh,
mess.
it's
It was
awful.
like on my birthday, like in 2012.
Oh damn.
And I
Was you
blocked that out of my memory. Like I posted about it one time and my friend was like, yeah, I was there. I was like, I don't even remember being with nobody, but okay.
like
It was
intentionally? That's all.
yeah, it was really that bad. It was like it was terrible. And I don't remember, I have no idea what I was talking about. So
Mm.
fast forward 10 years later in 2022, I guess. Yeah. And I don't know. I no, I don't think I turned. Did I turn 30? I didn't turn 35 yet. But especially as a woman, when you get to your mid 30s, you start to settle more into yourself and who you are and wanting to do like what you want to do. And I had just like gone through a divorce and all that type of stuff. So it was just like it's time to just do what I want to do. Like for what?
Mm.
Bucket list items. So I didn't plan on doing it more than once, but I did it, and it like it was that probably is like my best set yet. You know what I
Mm.
mean? Like they say it's like doing heroin or something. Like you always chasing that
Oh
high.
yeah.
So I had that high. I feel like it like came together really well. Like it was just a perfect little set. I didn't record it because stupidly in my mind, if I recorded it, it was going to be posted, and I didn't want like if it was terrible, I ain't want no evidence of it. But at least my friend took pictures, so I at least have evidence that it happened. But I do wish I would have recorded it. But anyway, the way that comedy works is that like I come from like the music world, even though I'm not a musician. I come from the music world, and it's like in music, people expect you to pay your dues before they give you features and all that type of stuff. Like you got to do a bunch of open mics, so they got to see you in the studio, and you got to work under this person. You got to do this and do that, and before you go out there, comedy they just throw you out there. Like they will be quick to give you a gig. They will be quick. You still are paying your dues. Don't get me wrong. Like
Yeah.
if you first starting out, if you go to an open mic, they're gonna put you on last when there's only two people, all of that type of stuff. And they're watching you to see like how serious you are about it, how many times you're gonna be out. But this guy had told me like, you want to make sure you're on stage like 3 to 4 times a week, which again is very different from like music because you're not expected to go no open mic every single day. I didn't even know there was that much comedy happening. But anyway, so I ended up kind of being thrown into the world. Like I started in April of 2022, and by like August, I had a couple of my first like featured sets, in DC and maybe even Baltimore. I don't know. And just kind of been doing shows all up and down the East Coast. The furthest south I've gotten now is Virginia. I have a show coming up in Virginia. It'll be my first show of the year on January 5th. But I'm
Mm.
definitely trying to make it to Atlanta. I'm definitely trying to make it
Yeah.
to Chicago, like some of the like comedy hot spots. You know what I'm
Maybe
saying?
Colombia.
Right. Go international.
Look.
Even though, comedy is a very like, again, that's what makes it different from music. Like, yeah, you have regional music and stuff, but still, music is music everywhere. Comedy is not
Right.
necessarily comedy everywhere. You know what I mean? Like, you got to really get to know who you're talking to. And that's
Yeah.
one of the reasons why, like, seasoned comics encourage you to like really hit the ground running. And while you see people who are at the top of their game making millions of dollars still going to like the comedy clubs to test out material, you know what I mean? Because it's like it has to be practiced, but it has to be practiced in front of people. So
Right.
you gauge like what people's sensitivities are, what people's humor is, all that type of stuff. So it takes a lot of vulnerability, which is another thing that I've, been practicing as I'm getting older. And it takes a lot of courage. And people will say that I'm like look confident on stage, and I be shaking,
Mm. I can
absolutely
relate,
shaking.
'cause I'm just thinking about it now. Like I keep telling you, I'm gonna go do my one joke and bounce. But I respect you mightily and anybody who gets up there because I can imagine the amount of courage it takes. Like even for me, I did this open mic thing and I do poetry. And obviously for me, for whatever I do, no matter how many times I've done it, I'm gonna get nervous. I feel like if I don't get nervous, I need to just go sit my ass down because something ain't right. I need
Mhm.
to feel that, and then I hit the switch and I turn it on. So I took a chance of doing this poem, but they had this band that was playing. So I was like, well, fuck it, let's rock. You know what I'm saying? And I did the poem to the music as best I could. I'm reading off my phone and all of that. But I just say that to say like having that kind of courage to do stuff you never done before. And for me, it's different because like it's a poem. It's like people like it, they don't like it. I can still move on. But for comedy, it's like if people don't like it, that's like, oh no, I didn't fucked up, right? Am I
Yeah, it's like you learn, like the more you do it, the more you realize audiences are different. So like most comics will do the same exact set everywhere they go. And I've seen the sets completely bomb some places and completely um kill in other places. You know what
Mhm.
I mean? So after a while you learn, like there's some stuff, like especially when I first started out, I was like, oh, that didn't do well. I'ma kill it. Like I'm not gonna use that anymore. But then I would watch a record and I'd be like, no, that's a solid joke. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like I'm gonna
yeah,
just try it somewhere else, or I'm gonna try it a different way. Like I'm gonna work on that. I'm not gonna abandon this just because somebody didn't laugh here. You know what I mean?
yeah.
So you start to get that like you don't care attitude when it comes to it. But it definitely
I'm
doesn't feel good to like totally experience silence.
yeah, I'm sure. But at the same time, it's like not everybody loves butter pecan ice cream. That don't make it bad ice cream. You know what I'm saying? So I
Exactly.
that kind
And
of
I
thing.
think that's been the beauty of doing comedy because it really teaches you that like just find your people. You know what I mean? Like comedy is about finding your people. You could be as skilled and all that type of stuff, but it really comes down to uh getting it like being in front of the audiences that get you. But
Mhm.
part of the challenge too And I purposely didn't invite people to my early shows and all that type of stuff because I didn't want to just be laughing in front of my friends. So it's
Mm-hmm.
like, no, in order for me to develop the actual skill and be able to get people to laugh or to get people to listen that might have never heard this stuff before or whatever, like I got to be in audiences that I'm not necessarily comfortable with.
Yeah.
Um, and like I said, that skill translates in other parts of you know.
Yeah. So how do you think, number one is, how do you think you have like grown, evolved, changed just as a human being, not necessarily as a comic specifically, but just as a human being in this doing the comedy, being back in the school, like how has that shaped you?
Um, well, I definitely found being back in the school is making me more disciplined. Like I definitely like um definitely got ADHD, definitely be a little bit all over the place. You know, I'm big on follow through, but I would just be having a lot of stuff in different pots and all that type of stuff. So this and comedy. Like I've been in the arts, you know, but I'm always like on the administrative side, the producer side. This has been my opportunity to be creative and to be expressive and to be bold. Be okay with like my ideas being put out there. You know, again, like people don't think that that's something I struggle with because I just be saying stuff. But
Right.
honestly, the real part of being neurodivergent is not knowing that stuff is wild to people. You know what I mean? Like I just be talking sometimes, and it's like,
Right.
man, did you just say that? And I'm like,
I,
I didn't know that that was problematic, or crazy or funny. Like, and that was also the thing that kept me from doing comedy because the stuff that people would laugh at me was stuff that I was being serious. And I
uh
didn't understand what people were laughing at. And anytime I was trying to be funny, then it was like weirded people out.
yeah.
So like I had to try to find that balance, and I still am doing that of like infusing what I think is funny and what I want to talk about, and recognizing, acknowledging what people think is funny from me. Um,
Do
what
you
you say? My
do you
son is over here. Okay,
Yeah, I was
fine.
getting that was perfect timing because I wanted to ask, do you test out material on the kids?
No, they just learn that I do comedy. I don't.
Oh,
Mommy has a secret life. They know I'm not funny. They say I don't smile enough or anything. Even at this
oh
school,
Lord.
now I'm starting to like, and my students, I'm starting to tell little jokes to them now a little bit, but I be
Be like,
I
I'm
be
thinking
real serious.
like the family all sitting around and like, come on, mommy got a joke. Like little Eddie got a joke. Like,
No, I'm a serious person. Period. That's why people don't think that I like people that be
uh
really around me don't think was surprised either I did comedy or not people that really be around me. People that don't know me like that but be around me.
huh.
It's surprising to them. Not only because I'm chill and quiet, but also because I'm serious all the time. It's really hard for me to have conversations that's just like light and funny. Like we gonna go straight into something completely cerebral or the history of the world. Like
I mean, I'm friends with you on Facebook. I get it. I totally understand. Like,
yeah, like I get deep quick. So that's one of the reasons why I'm quiet, because I'm probably thinking about the
uh-huh.
fall of civilization. Like so
Uh-huh.
like comedy is also a way to like parse that out in little nuggets,
Yeah.
you know, and little fun nuggets. You know what I'm saying? Even when I think I'm not being political, like people pick up on it, or they'll come up to me and was just like, "Yeah, that part was real deep." And it's like a joke about the having multiple boyfriends or something like that,
Mhm.
and they be like, "Yeah, because that's real deep." Because,
Yeah.
and I'm just be like, I'm thinking I'm being goofy. I'm thinking I'm being goofy, and they're just like, "No, because if you really think about it," and I'm
Yeah.
like, it's felt so because I wanted to be able to like use it as a political driver, and I didn't feel completely comfortable going straight into political and social issues. So then I also felt guilty about it because I'm like, I gotta do me.
Yeah.
But like I said, no matter what I do, it's still me. It's still felt, and that's the beauty of comedy. Like it really does value authenticity and just like you being yourself, even if you're like an exaggerated version of yourself or a clown version of yourself.
Yeah.
Um, you know, all of that is felt. You gotta come off as genuine.
Yeah, and I think especially especially in this day and age, because we got social media and all of that. So it's like more people know you. You know what I'm saying? It's not like they don't like you had just discussed. Like it's people around you that don't really truly know you. They think they know you or whatever, but they get this idea off of what you post on social media and all of that type of stuff, all of that deal. So let me ask you, ver- um, how the kids?
My children,
Yes.
they good. My son came down here now. Um, they, they be kidding. Like no, they're very bright. They're very intelligent. They're very creative. They are very, like you said, expressive.
Yeah.
They've been doing really good in school. Which is,
Now,
I
now
just need them to
I
stop fighting each
wrong.
other.
Like I was wrong before because I had at one point I said we hadn't met before in person, and you made a liar out of me. Have I met your kids in person? I don't feel like. Or were they at the Freedom School too? I
They
feel like.
were they were babies.
Okay, yeah, I figured it had to have been. Yeah. Okay, so I won't say I
Yeah,
met the kids. We gonna go with the fact that I met them when I met you, and I've known them forever. But either way,
yeah,
I love you, kids.
they were babies. I don't know if Shiva was around,
Uh,
my youngest. If she was like literally probably strapped on to me.
mhm.
All of them had been strapped on to me throughout Freedom School, so everybody had just kind of seen them grow up, and
Yeah,
I was watching your kids grow up.
yes, yeah. I love that we
Mhm.
have the opportunity to do that and really see the growth and also to be able to pour into each other's kids. You know what I'm saying? And encourage that kind of stuff because they don't always get that. Like I said, going back to it can be a very cruel world. So to have all of these people who are just reaching out and sending love and watching them grow and all of that stuff. All right, so I don't want to be too much longer. I got to get down to the park and see my But anyway, but anyway, so and I ain't done this show in so long. I forgot my questions, but give me oh, I remember now. Any kind of affirmations, anything you say to yourself or anything that you love to hear, read, or anything that really just keeps you going and keeps you in motion.
I mean, the first thing that come to mind is like if all of this is an illusion, right? Like make it an illusion that suits you. Like if
I like
it's all fake, if it all doesn't matter, like make it fun. You know what I'm saying? Like
it.
make it what you want to make it, and that's my affirmation.
I love that. I really do. And the last thing, your wins from anything recently, any wins that you want to share with us, like maybe.
Any wins? I
Maybe.
mean, I just bought a house.
Okay.
Yay! You know that was a tough battle. Um, I don't know. That's the big one. That's what I've been focusing so much on. That's what I've been putting my energy into right now. Just kind of settling into the house. I'm excited about the new year and putting energy into other things. Um, I'm working on like a wellness co-op. I'm gonna start
Mm,
really get going hard on being in certain spaces when it's come to this comedy thing, like really targeting like the major clubs and all of that, the different cities that I really want to pull up to. And yeah, I just been taking life minute by minute, step by step, day by day, enjoying like even the little wins. Y'all see my lights?
yeah,
These are amethyst crystals, and I
beautiful.
lost them a couple years ago, and I just found them. That was like a big win for me.
There you
My
go. That's
crystals.
beautiful. I love it. I mean, I know you see you on here, but the way that it looks, the lighting is fantastic. And I got my little plant life behind me for the time being in this little Airbnb situation.
Mhm.
I'm in love with. I won't be here too long though. But I want to thank you so very much for spending this time with me this morning, early on I lose track. It's a break. I don't know. Early on or whatever morning it is, it won't matter because I don't even know when I'm posting it. So it doesn't matter. Whatever morning it is, you were kind enough to get uncrusty and join
Just a
this
little
morning
bit.
a little bit. You
That's why I
even
got the lights
playing.
low. You know, you can't. You gonna try to zoom in and see. and the little piece of whatever I got. Whatever, okay? Everybody got it. I don't
Right.
care. I don't care.
Exactly. But this has been so much fun. I appreciate it. You are a beautiful soul, a beautiful spirit, and death to the patriarchy for sure.
I appreciate you and thank you for being patient with me also. I'm glad we finally were able to do this.
It
Yeah.
has truly been a pleasure. I thank you, and we will talk soon.
All righty.
Peace.